I really do kind of like this whole platform. It makes it really easy. So, hey guys, anybody out there watching, welcome to our monthly Drinks with Authors. We haven't done this in a while, Jane.
I know. I think November was the last time, or was it October?
We're slacking. Okay, well, let's catch up then on what's been going on. I'm Katie Solitis, and my co-host today is Jane.
Amy Taylor.
Drinking.
Poland Springs. Hydration.
Wow.
Okay. Diet. It's time to lose the Christmas holiday, Thanksgiving, Halloween candy.
All right. I'll allow it this week. I've got rum and Coke. I'm participating in Drinks with Authors. Oh, and the wonderful Star Wars cup.
Star Wars cup. Yes. Yes, I'm slacking. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's recap. Let's figure out what's been going on since last we talked. November was NaNoWriMo, or NaNoWriMo, however you say it.
Yeah.
Did you participate?
No, I didn't. But I was writing a book anyway. So yeah, that was I finished Fire Cursed right before Christmas. So I started that I think at the end of October. And then just cruise right through it.
Okay. Because I think that's the one that I got to beta read, right?
Yes.
How many words was that?
I want to say it was almost 60.
Okay, 50.
It was somewhere between 50 and 60.
So you managed to write and get it ready for beta reading and have it edited before the end of the year, starting in October.
Yes.
Round of applause for you. Dang.
Thank you. That one just poured right out. That I haven't written like that since actually for years. To have a story just click and write basically itself. And yes, there are some twists in that are gonna anybody who is a solid reader of mine for many of my series will be like, and I'm attempting to get the second book out now to my editor for April 1st.
See, you're lucky that I read on my computer because I can't throw it across the room when I read your stories.
I know. I didn't feel
twisted and I get to the twist. I'm like, oh my God, why?
Yes. Well, you read Lilith, which is one of the ones that I was toying with when I finished Snow. Which one was I going to write next? And then I saw this cover for Fire Cursed. Sorry, and I had to buy it, had to write it.
Yeah.
And it just boom. So now I have to write book 2.
Which again, always put me on the beta read list because I'm good for it.
Yep. I know.
I may not ever read it on a tablet or a phone because that will go flying when I hit your surprise twist towards the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's going to be much of a twist. Well, in the middle book, because it's going to be a 3-book series.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still trying to work out what I'm going to do in this second book. I've already started, and I'm like, oh, you're so horrible to them.
So mean.
Yes, I am.
All right, but here's a good thing because you write really fast.
Yes.
And you write a lot of books per year. I'm jealous at how fast you can write because people look at me and go, 3 books a year sounds like a lot, but you can double, sometimes triple that. So I'm talking to the library tomorrow. I'm giving a presentation on going from your idea phase to first draft. What tips would you give an author to get through that first draft?
Just write whatever comes to mind, however ridiculous and far-fetched it is. Just get to the end. Just finish it and then go back and refine it, because finishing it is the hard part. Starting it is the easy part because you have this, wild idea and you get stuff down on paper, but going from A to Z is where, where the hard part is, and you got to struggle through it. And when you get stuck somewhere, and you have a different scene that you know you're trying to get to, stop there, put a marker, and write the scene you want. Because otherwise, you can stare at the page for days. Take it from somebody who's done it before. You know, I'm like, but I gotta get from here. You know, the chronological order is not as the word just escaped me, sorry. It's not as important when you're writing that first draft to do it in chronological order. To get it in chronological order, yes, but if you get stuck here and you know you have a scene that you're getting to, just write it, and then you can go back, and it's much easier to get from that point to the next point. Once you have it written, it's like, ooh, you know. You beta read Lilith. I did that with Lilith. I had a couple areas where I just got like, okay, what's going to happen next? Where do I go next? I know I got to write this. So I jumped and wrote that, and that made it easier for me to fill in the time boundaries.
Yep, I agree. And I think you were the one who gave me that advice a while ago, because I tend to be a very linear writer, and I want to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to the end in the right order. And then I run into those roadblocks as well, where it's like, I don't know how to get to this next part. I kind of know what the next part is, but I don't know how to get there. And you can't bridge that gap, and then you end up stuck.
Yep.
And it's really hard for somebody who does write in that linear order to, okay, put a pin in it and jump ahead, because you're like, but what if I don't know how to connect it? But it does work.
Well,
figure it out.
I am a very linear writer as well. So it was very difficult, and I got really stuck, and and I knew I was time bound. I actually pushed the date back with my editor. My editor, Lindsay, is just fabulous in that. She's been really flexible, yes, with me. Because I've been sort of on the shelf, let's put it that way, since December, because we had family issues. And then, you know, again, at the beginning of February, you know, I had family issues that I had to attend to, but I had these deadlines. I knew in December I wasn't going to meet my March 1st deadline, or what was it? February 1st deadline for Lilith. I knew with everything going on, I'm like, my family needs me. I can't take time away. So I called her and said, can we move this? And she gave me 6 weeks.
Oh, that's good.
So I had March 15th for Lilith, but I had April 1st for the next book. So I'm still under the gun to get this book done by April 1st.
I need to contact her again, because she did Magic in Disguise for me. And I liked her editing style, and I liked the fact that she was a bit flexible, because I ran over on my deadline too, because life got in the way and I couldn't get the words down. And that allowed me time enough to finish it. And she edited really quickly, and her style meshed really well with my style, which is a very important thing for authors out there to understand, is that you can have the best editor, but if they don't mesh with your style, you're not going to work well together. So find somebody that's good, but that also is good to work with for your particular style. But yeah, she was great. And I need to get on her calendar for sometime later in the year for the next book.
Yeah.
Yet to be named. And I'm only 6,000 words in.
That's okay. That's all right. Yeah. I mean, between the end of work and this, I wrote 500 words. It's not a lot, but it's words. So
that's it.
You know?
Making baby steps towards the goal, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, that's the toughest part about, you know, I'm sure traditional published authors have the same constraints when they have set editing schedules, you know, and life gets in the way. I don't know how flexible their schedules can be if there's this, you know, without pushing the book out. But it's
that would
nice.
Be a good question. We'll have to find some traditional authors and kind of pick their brains about how the editing deadlines work.
Right. I mean, it's nice where we are, and working with independent editors and cover artists. Well, cover artists now are, you know, the ones I use are booked at least 6 months in advance at this point. So I'm lucky enough that the one for my Fractured Fairy Tales, when I reach out to her and say I need the paperback, she fits me in. I don't think I'll have that same flexibility with my current the cover artist that has done some of the other series that I did, because she's just packed.
Oh, see, I'm having a similar problem because, once you do a series, your book cover should all have the same look about them.
Yeah.
And I originally, with the Agents of Asset series, I originally had 2 books ready to go at the same time. So I had my cover artist do those 2 books together, and I said, okay, I should have the 3rd one done by October. And I thought I had booked with her to get that time scheduled, but I didn't. Thankfully, she fit me in. But now that I've got the trilogy done, I realized I can write more on it. So I want to put another maybe 2 to 3 books out, but I don't have titles. I don't have synopsises. And so I don't want to go to the cover artist until I have those, because that's the front and back matter that goes on the cover. So I'm kind of in that conundrum of, do I book time with them, and do I scramble to come up with a title, which I suck at titles. I absolutely I suck at synopsises, and I usually can't write them until the book is done. So what do I do? So I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but I want to next time get just 3 in a row and be done with it, so I have them ready.
Well, yeah, I'm okay at titles. I can think of them, and you've seen me come up with things, just like, oh, okay, we have this one for the verse, this makes sense, try to say with a theme, if it's one word, how many syllables is that first one, and try to just sort of have continuity in that.
Mm-hmm.
Your titles have that sort of continuity as well, with the main, the magic in disguise, magic,
Yeah. They're all common phrases with one word changed to magic.
Yes. So, play with titles. I've done that, multiple times. So, and then synopsises, yeah, you're right. It's hard to write them before the book is done.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the concepts, and I've actually done it before the book is done. So, like at least a half a dozen times.
But even that's
what I
know. Like what you originally envisioned for a story, it changes as you write it and may not match completely. So if you gave a synopsis at the beginning of a story, what do you do then if it doesn't match by the end of it? Because that happens to me all the time. That's why I'm not a plotter. Because I'll have, this grand idea and a series of to-do lists for my characters. But by the end of it, maybe I haven't checked all the items off, or maybe the ending was different than I expected. So it never matches completely with what I originally envisioned.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess I can see that. What I was lucky with is if you write it first, you have some of the major plot points in there.
Mm-hmm.
That helped a couple times, because I wrote Reds before I wrote Red.
Okay.
I wrote Snows before I wrote Snow. So those are easy, because you're taking a fairy tale and twisting it around.
Fairy tale, yeah.
Yeah. So that was easy, but I'm trying to think. The Paradox Files, the Silencing the Siren, I wrote first, the synopsis, and then I wrote the book.
Okay.
Like, okay, I have to look at that and make sure I have, at least the mood and some of the big bads that I hinted at there. So, your synopsis does not have to be, well, yours are very specific to the story. So you're right. You're writing after the fact and boiling it down to the key parts.
Right.
So,
half the time, like I said, it's not going to match up. If I looked at the original plot idea for the first book, it totally veered off course, but it veered off course in a good way by the time I had written the story. And the same thing with the second one. By the time I figured out where things should be going, I no longer matched what I'd originally written.
But how, well, for the ebook, you don't necessarily need the text on the, the back copy text. So maybe a placeholder for ebook and a placeholder for print might be
and that
worthwhile
might
to do.
That's workable too, is once you have the cover, the front cover, then maybe you can say, okay, in 3 months when the book is done, I'll give you the final synopsis that's been edited to, and you can just throw that on the back cover and then give me the wrap. So maybe that's an idea.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
I lately have not been following the 3-book a year timeline that I've been working with because I've been doing so many other things that I don't know when the next book's coming out. I have no clue like how long it's going to take me to write it, how long revisions are going to be.
Yeah, I have editing slots for March 15th, which was supposed to be February 1st, April 1st, June 1st. I think I have August 1st and November 1st.
Damn.
Yeah.
See, you write so much more. You write so fast. I really envy that because
some of those are novellas or short stories. Like Lilith is a short story, so that was easier. So
still, when you consider writing, revising, and editing time, that's pretty quick. I mean, even if you're only talking 25,000 words, that's pretty quick.
Well, you've seen what I consider an unviewed, unedited version.
Yeah.
So, a lot of mine, I do what I say don't do. Every time I sit down, I'll read at least what I wrote the night before, and then I'll smooth it out and then go on. So, that's because over the years I'm like, okay, I know what I wrote was not, and I need to familiarize myself with where I am in the story because, mind you, I've worked all day and written documents at work, and now I need to get my head around where I have an idea of where I left off, but what do I need to do next? So I have to go back and read a little bit. And I usually go, ooh, I need to, smooth that out a little bit. So.
No, I see. I can't do that because it's the same thing that I always caution people against, is turn off the self-editor during the first draft phase. Because if I go back and look at it would never be completed because there's so much wrong with my first drafts that they will never, ever see the light of day. And the rough drafts that I share with people are usually probably 3 revisions in. Yeah. Like I told you, because we're going to try and do a project together. So you'll see what a first draft looks like for me. And it's almost like screenplay looking because it's just dialogue for the most part with very few character details or body language or anything like that. It's usually he said, she said all the way down for that first scene. And then I'll go back and I'll layer in what's going on around them. But I hear the characters first and that's it.
Yeah. And I see the background first. So we're going to be,
See, that could work though for layering because if I'm
going to say, I think we're going to be compatible. Hey, want to say hi to the public? Want to say hi to the public? I'm on Spelling Ink, Drinks with Authors. Yeah. Come say hi, you're an author. Yes. Everybody can hear him complaining, right? This is my son, William. I'll give you hugs later.
This is exactly what I'll be doing tomorrow because we're talking about getting that idea to first draft stage completed and getting through all of that, which, there's a million different stumbling blocks you can go into. There's the you hate your first draft. There's the can't figure out an idea, and then there's the I got stuck on the self-editor phase, which happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, you think a lot of this as fodder for tomorrow's talk.
I mean, he has a lot of great ideas and gets partially down. I think he had a good part of a book done and lost it on Google Docs when he was a senior in high school. And I think after that he was just defeated.
You know what? Tell him I had the exact same thing happen to me, only instead of Google Docs, it was a floppy disk.
Yep.
I was 14 when we moved from Texas to Vegas, and in the move, my floppy drive, which was floppy at the time, I'm dating myself, was broken. And the book that I had been writing, that I was pretty much complete with it, lost. Yeah. And I stopped writing for quite a few years after that because it was a hard blow. All that time and effort just lost.
Yeah, he was just devastated. I mean, I've had my computer crap out on me, and I didn't back things up for like weeks. I back things up religiously now between my OneDrive and then hard disk drives, and I'm like really paranoid about that. But it was just like we were able to recover everything from that, and it took like a month for them to recover it, but I got it back, and I was like, oh, because I was just like sobbing, crying.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you lose everything. How do you recover from that?
Yeah, I went to take a shower. I walk out, and my screen's like the blue screen of death. And I turned. I'm like, "What did you do to my computer? I didn't touch it. Nobody touched it. Really, they didn't." So I have no idea.
Heart attack moment.
Oh yes. You know, cover art, everything. So, but it was recovered. So I was.
So what are your favorite backup methods then?
Well, I have OneDrive, which I back up to, so that's cloud. And then I have a terabyte, plug-in drive that I back up to. And then I have another one of those. I have redundant hard drive backups.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I have 2 external connected drives to my computer, and I tend to back up to both of them in different sequences. Yeah. And then I also will email myself stuff occasionally and send stuff to Google Docs, so that I have just different backups everywhere, because you never know. And just to lose something that you put so much effort into, it's so crushing.
Yeah, if I'm doing like at work, if I'm doing something online, I will save something to my hard drive. So if I'm in Google Docs, which we don't use Google Docs, but we use Windows stuff or whatever, I save and whatnot.
I had a drive crash too in the last, I want to say it was like 2 years ago. And my husband, thank God, was good at pulling out the data. He didn't get everything, but he got a lot of it. Yeah. So I didn't lose everything, but my entire publishing drive failed one time. And I thought I had lost everything. So every manuscript I've ever written, every piece of cover, everything was on that drive. And I was like, oh shit. And that's when I started doing the extra backups too.
Yeah, my husband fixed our desktop at home, and I had books, like this many books of poetry that I had put on the computer, and I threw the books away. Everything from my freshman year or 8th grade until we were married.
Oh my God.
Gone. Because he's like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, and I'm like, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
But so he lost some of his drafting stuff too. So I wasn't the only one that was, traumatized. Although he had paper backup of that. So yeah, we learned the hard way. You always back up, especially if you're going to fix your computer somehow.
Mm-hmm. And multiple backups in case one fails. Redundancy.
Yes. Redundant backup. and now being computer-based IT in our day jobs. I'm a business analyst, he's a developer. The redundant backups are necessary. That's why we have so many different, variations of environments to go through. One here, you go to a different one, you go to a different one, so you always have it redundantly backed up. So that's always.
Yeah, that's a good point to make for tomorrow when I'm talking to the library. Is that not only is it important to get through the first draft, but it's important to back it up.
Yes. Save. Auto save.
There are two kinds of people in this world: those who save and those who will.
Yes. we are telling our sad stories, so you don't have to have one.
But and that's kind of funny because Jason, I ran my presentation through Jason because I always want to practice ahead of time. It's always best to rehearse. And I figured I would reach out and I would rehearse with people who are writers so that they can give me feedback on areas that I could add extra information in, because I'm talking to aspiring writers right now.
Right.
So he said, you need to tie it into your personal life somehow. Tell some kind of story that relates to this. And as I'm talking to you, I'm like, man, I do have some stories I could add in here of my personal failures that they can laugh at and maybe learn from. So yes, I will add that story in of losing my first manuscript and losing most of my stuff. But thankfully, my husband is really, really good at data recovery. He was able to save pretty much all of the drive. There's a few things I'm still missing, but most everything was saved. And now it's saved in every kind of different location.
Yeah, when this computer, this one that I'm on now, did something funky and I had to send it back. At least with this one, I was able to back everything up before I sent it back, and I had to clear out things because I didn't want, personal stuff or some of the things that I had written or works in progress to be sent somewhere else where somebody could mess with it. So I just deleted everything, and after I put it on the drive and made sure it was on all 3 drives, and then I wiped it out. So, and I have to double check drives, because I've noticed if I do one drive on my computer and then I try to access it with my phone, if it's not completely synced, my phone doesn't have it all.
Oh,
I've noticed that. So going through my computer, it's all there, but my same access with my phone, it's not there. So it's like, crap. Where is it? Where did it hide? So, I always have my phone on me most of the time. So.
Yeah, don't we all? I mean, you can't live without your phone anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting in that respect. Yes. I'm not on it when I have company, because I'm like, no, that's not good.
Remember what I said about fingers under the door? Yeah, there she is.
Hi, Zoe.
What are you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Downstairs, silly butt.
Life with kids, right? Life always gets in the way. Weren't we going to talk about
yes, life gets in the way.
Exhibit A, supposed to be downstairs, and has decided that she wants to be on our show.
Oh, but she's so cute.
Crazy little thing. Where's your brother?
She's like mini you.
Look at this.
Yeah, I know.
Her hair, she has long hair.
Okay. I don't know what that was.
Isn't that like shake, shake, shake? Yours is all braided. You can't do it, Katie.
I have to. You don't want to see the mess that it was beforehand. I was like, I need to fix it really quickly.
Was it like the way I looked Saturday night when I dialed in after waking up? I looked at it. I'm like, oh my God, I should have never dialed in.
My hair is in a little bun. I took it down. I was like, oh no. Nope.
At least mine is not frizzy today. It's just there.
Tails. If Mom gets Anna dress, she's Anna.
Oh, I'm Anna. And does that make you Elsa?
And I have Elsa dress.
Yeah.
Are you gonna let it go?
No.
Oh, you should have seen her. So Vegas got snow for the first time in forever.
Yes.
And we were out it was 11 o'clock at night. And we
Mhm.
were out dancing in our PJs and coats in the snow because we don't see snow in Vegas. It's such a rarity that we were like, we have to let the kids, experience some of it. And the area that I live in specifically tends to get skipped over when weather comes through.
Yep.
So we get less rain in this particular area of the city, and we got less snow. So like the Summerlin area was just covered. They got, I think, 6 inches plus, whereas we just got
wow.
testing.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, it's 11 o'clock at night. We're going to let the kids experience this. So here they are at 11 o'clock at night dancing in a snowstorm.
Absolutely. You gotta do it. You gotta dance in the snowstorm when you're in Vegas. So they got 6 inches?
Yeah, it was really snowing on that side of town.
I was gonna say that's like, stop everything in that area
Mom.
type of snow, because you guys don't have snow removal.
We're not prepared for it. No, our
No,
city doesn't get snow, so why should we be prepared?
right.
you know?
It's like the South who hi Lisa. It's like the South who thinks their ice is different than the North.
Well, okay, so that brings up a really good thing. So, and it's been the joke of the day. So they
Yes.
canceled school today, but they didn't cancel school on Thursday. Now, Thursday, the snow started Wednesday night all the way through Thursday. Midday is about when it stopped. And like I said, my area of town didn't get near as much. But on the other ends of town, it was really snowing. They didn't cancel school on Thursday while it was snowing. However, because of the backlash they got from all the parents, they canceled they canceled school today, and it's been like 50 degrees and sunny all day long.
Oh, nice.
No.
Well, they were afraid of the ice.
Exactly.
The ice had never showed up.
The rationale was the snow is melting. It was supposed to freeze overnight, which it did. And they thought it was going to be dark, black ice conditions in the morning. And our drivers aren't trained at all.
Oh,
There's
no.
driving practice. If it rains, there are so many more accidents because people can't drive in any kind of wet condition.
Weather.
So they were at school.
Yeah.
And everybody's like just dying over this because we've had a snow day where it's not actually snowing. Can you come down here?
People are pretty scared of snow. That's what's
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you don't know how to drive in the snow. I don't know how to drive in the snow either, and I'm from New England.
Well,
Actually, with a Prius, you don't drive in the snow. With a truck, you do.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was one of those situations where, we got their snow day. We were happy about it, but there's no snow for the kids to play in.
not driving in the snow. Dancing.
No?
Dancing in the snow.
Dancing in the snow is fun.
What do you do?
I eat snow.
You eat snow,
I throw snow in my face.
as long as it's not yellow, right?
Yeah, I've been eating off the car.
Ew.
I've been eating off the
I don't want to hear that part. Ew.
my favorite.
You should have just stood there and opened your mouth and let it fall into your mouth.
It was cool. I mean, there's some big flakes coming down. And of course, for us, never see this stuff. We were amazed.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I think it snowed in Tucson too.
It did, yeah. I've been seeing some pictures from Tucson. I've been seeing some pictures from like the north area, Flagstaff, Arizona. So I think most of Arizona got some kind of dusting of snow, which is really, really cool.
After we're gonna make chocolate pancakes.
But only if you go downstairs and eat.
Lisa wants us to tell her about our books.
Well, there you go. So you know Lisa then, so you introduce.
Yes, Lisa is a friend of mine from the office, from the day job. So I believe she does have one of my books, and I'm not sure which one she has, but yeah, I write supernatural suspense, some with romance, some with horror, some with both. And I have multitudes of series, but
You have to tell our audience about your moment coming home where you got to have a fangirl type situation happen.
Do you want the whole story of the flight nightmare? I was down in nice, warm, sunny Charleston, South Carolina, and I came back up on Tuesday, and apparently in the mid-eastern states there was a lot of weather that I didn't know about. So I got to the airport about an hour and a half before my flight, and I got to the gate, and I'm looking, and my flight's supposed to be 7:45, and I see, okay, it all of a sudden moved to 8:45, and then within a minute of standing in line there, it moves to 9:45, and then 10:45. Mind you, my connection in Charlotte was at 10:15, so a little panicked, and I'm looking around going, okay, where can I go on American Airlines? What places are open? I see Charlotte, and then Washington, D.C. And I'm like, over to D.C. They didn't have any seats on that flight. And I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, what do I do? I don't want to go back to the condo where my parents are. I was down there because my mother had been sick, and have them get up in the morning at an ungodly hour and bring me back. So I was like, okay, I'll just get to Charlotte. And the woman goes, because we were talking about alternatives, and she goes, okay, well, if you're going to go, and she looks, she goes, oh, see that flight over there? And it was leaving at like 6:50. I can get you on that. And I'm like, yes. So she gives me a ticket, and I run over, and I get onto the plane, and I'm in an exit row with this young to me. She's like 26 years old. And I like fall into the seat, and we start talking, and we start, like, woo, we're on the plane, because she was on the same one that I was supposed to be on, and with the same situation of a connection in Charlotte. And we got talking, and I told her about what I said about the South, saying, ice is not the same down here. And we just got laughing about that. And I said, I got to put that in one of my books. And she looks at me, she goes, books? I'm like, yeah. But she goes, what do you write? And I said, supernatural suspense. And oh my God, she nearly like jumped out of the chair. She's a Supernatural fan, a Walking Dead fan. She loves the Marvel universes. She is my target audience. And then she goes, I know it's geeky, but can I take a picture with you so I can say I had a picture with that famous author? And I'm like, famous? Who's here that's famous? But she took a selfie, and then when we landed, while we were waiting to taxi in, she went online and bought a book of mine. So I've got to get her address. I friended her on Facebook, and she's going to send me her address, so I'm going to send her a signed book plate.
That's so cool.
But it was just like, famous author? Really? Where? And I keep forgetting that, yes, I'm published.
That's right. You are.
And people actually do buy and read it. And I've hit the USA Today list, 6 times in box sets I've been in. So it's not like I'm,
Jane, embrace your awesomeness. That's cool.
But I think we laughed almost the entire hour flight. It was probably the best flight I've ever had, outside of the time we got moved to first class. My husband and I. Because it was just hysterical. And I think like 8 people around us were thankful they were on the flight, because I think they were supposed to be the later flights. And when we got on the ground, my phone dinged, and they moved the flight to 10:45, or not 10:45, 12:45 out of Charleston. So I would have been stuck. Well, thank you, Raven Podcast.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason. And then I got on the ground, and I saw that they changed my flight to the morning. And I walked to the gate, and I'm like, nobody was at the gate, so I called American Airlines. I'm like, hello, I'm standing at the gate in Charlotte that I'm supposed to leave at 10:15, and you changed me to the morning flight. Please change me back, because I really wanted to get home. Because the next day, I knew snow was coming through the mid-eastern states all the way up to where we were. So it was just a day. But that first flight, laughing so hard, just made it,
I mean, right there, just to be able to share not only the joy of reading, but to kind of get that special feeling that somebody really, really is interested in reading your work. I mean, that's like an oh my God moment right there.
I know.
Right? I mean, we all want somebody to feel that enthusiastic about our work because we feel enthusiastic about our work.
Yeah. One of my old bosses told me when she was over in Europe on the beach, she saw somebody with one of my books.
Yes.
I know. That was the moment of like, oh, really? And I'm like, I kind of wonder if I would geek out if I saw somebody reading my book on the beach. Would I approach them and say, the one
I would totally talking. I would be like, oh, they got my book. Oh, they've got my book. Let me get a picture.
How much of a geek out moment would it be for me?
Oh yeah. And see, okay, for anybody out there who's watching, please understand that we as authors geek out that much over people reading our books too.
Yes, we do. And when we get comments and and stuff like that, it's just awesome.
Oh yeah, that can totally make your day. When somebody sends you an email, oh my God, I loved your book. It was so good. That's all you have to say. And man, my day is made. I am so happy for the rest of the day. I'm cloud nine. I can rule the world. There is no better feeling. So it doesn't take much, really.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh, I get all shy and like, oh my God. So yes, it is awesome to be recognized for, having the wherewithal to get through and get published too. So
yeah. Well, and really, you and I know it's a long slog to get from beginning to end and actually have that finished product. And we're proud of it when we get that book out there. And you want people to see how much effort you put in. You want people to appreciate it. But I don't think anybody who isn't in publishing really understands how much work really went into that.
Right. I mean, for me, after a long day at the office, it is sort of an escape. I mean, I used to watch a lot of television before I started writing, and just sort of get lost in shows or get lost in books. I used to read a lot too. I still read a fair amount, but nowhere near the amount that I used to, which is the catch-22 because I really enjoy reading. But,
beta reading these days. So
yes.
Not I don't enjoy beta reading, but it's not the same as reading for pleasure.
Right. Well, I
find problems rather than reading just to enjoy the story.
Do you find it's harder to enjoy the story now that you've done this journey as a writer?
No, I can fall completely into a book when I have time.
Okay.
When I know that there's no requirement for me to make comments or anything about something, I can still fall into a book. It's just I don't get the opportunity to. And like I said, it's not that I don't enjoy beta reading either. It's just not the same because you're reading with that critical eye where I have to stop. I have to pay closer attention. I have to make sure that if I hear an echo that I hit that highlight button so that they can see where the echo is or,
Right.
Different type of reading. You're not relaxing fully. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I have found it, people in filmmaking get it too. Yeah, I didn't watch movies for years because I was a film editor at a television station and that's what my day job was. So yes, I get it. Oh yeah. I mean, I find it's hard to get into a book sometimes. If it doesn't grab me in the beginning. And I don't know if that's because of being an editor at Allegory eZine for so many years, I got used to, okay, you got to grab me now. And same with, with the publishing company that I have. I don't think we've had many submissions. So it's
What was this?
hello.
Let me ask you this, because as I'm also writing another presentation, I'm looking at plot structure. And I've noticed over the last few years, it seems like people's ideals on plot structure have changed. It used to be longer intro, better scene setting at the beginning, which meant a slower start, was the norm. So if we look at that, that was, what do they call it? Pretext pyramid or something, which is the standard plot arc. Well, as I'm looking into plot structure, I learned a new term, which is the Fichtean curve, which starts like right in the action. It's not the in media res. It's starting right at like the inciting incident and going through multiple conflicts. Like you're constantly hitting people. And that seems to be the turn lately. Like people aren't as much accepting of those longer, slower intros with more character development and world development. They want to be smacked in the face with action and continue on.
Right. Twofold there, yes. In today's world of all the electronic media and all of that stuff, I'll answer that in a minute, Jason. All this electronic fast things, everything texting, everything in our face. I think readers' attention, unless it captures you and yanks you, you're going to lose them. And I think it's all because of the ongoing media in our lives.
See, and I had
however, if it's a well-crafted, well-written, engaging opening, it doesn't have to be action-driven in the beginning. I think that is just as captivating as the boom, boom,
See, and my point there is my last book series, the Agents of Asset series, that is the biggest criticism I've gotten on book one, is that it's a slow start. Because I had so much world building to do to get you to understand the character's life completely changing, that it had to have that naturally slower start. I couldn't figure out a better way to make the intro faster or to get to the action faster, because I needed to build your understanding of the change. And I get criticized for that. Not that the book is getting bad reviews, but most of the reviews, even the good ones, say it took me a while to get into the story.
Yeah. So, and Jason asked this, and now I completely blanked out on the book name. Oh, he wants action. Of course he wants action. The author is Lindsay Hall, and I've been reading her Dragon Gift series, and then her Magic, the Magic series. The one I'm on now is the Amazon 4 trilogy for that character, and I'm sort of in the middle of it. I didn't get to read on the flight because I was laughing.
We were having a moment.
They were a fan, I hope. So and the second flight I was just so tired I didn't even open my Kindle. But I'm in the middle of that. So what's the last book you read for pleasure?
I'm still slowly slogging through the Game of Thrones series, because I know the next season is coming out. I want to catch up on the books. So I finished book 2 finally. And now I'm slowly breaking into book 3. But again, I don't have much time to actually read. And those chapters are a lot more labor intensive to read too, because there's a lot of information being dumped on you. So it's kind of like I get a chapter in maybe once a month right now. Once every couple of weeks. It's really bad. But I've gotten 2 beta reads done in the last 48 hours. So we're good.
Okay.
Or wait, no, it's about 72 hours, but still.
I was going to say, Lilith was one of them.
And then one of my author friends that I'll be sharing a booth with in Phoenix, Jacob Devlin, sent me his latest, and I love it. It's so fun. It's one of those shared worlds where he's writing multiple points of view characters into their own stories. So I really enjoy those because I can dive deeper into the world that I already kind of know from a different perspective. So I'm really enjoying that.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Oh, now he's switching. All right,
So-
Jason, are you going to watch the next season when it comes out? Because I'm so excited.
Oh, I have to get HBO.
Yeah, I do that. I sign up for HBO right when it starts so I can watch for that time.
Yeah. And I'm like, do I wait until I get the entire set on video discs or not? And I'm like, no, I'll just get HBO.
Well, and when it's all done, I will end up getting the whole season.
Yeah.
But while it's just piecemeal, no, I'll wait till the end and I get
Right.
HBO at the time, and then I run the catch up beforehand and I'll watch
Yep.
the whole thing right before the season starts, and then I'll jump right into the season fresh and ready to go. But I'm also reading the books, which is really kind of cool because you can compare how they made the changes, what they kept, and why. Because I know that the series runners, they talked with George R. R. Martin. They know what the ending's supposed to be, and they're supposed to keep the same themes. So
Yep.
while they've jumped ahead of his writing, they're supposed to still end at the same point. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. And if you were paying attention last week, I spent all night last week before my presentation on world building researching Game of Thrones versus the War of the Roses.
Yeah.
So now I have new theories about what's going to happen because of what happened in the War of the Roses, and I'm comparing that to the Game of Thrones characters.
Okay.
So yeah, you understand going down the rabbit hole.
Yes, I do.
All I wanted to do was research ideas because I wanted to give some real world experience. When you talk about world building, a lot of authors utilize things they've gotten from history or mythology, something that they've
Right.
drawn from in order to create their world. Well, that was one of the big ones, how he created his series based off of a lot of things that happened within this, very long war between two families.
Right.
Or more. I mean, Hunger Games takes from Greek mythology, the Minotaur, and it also steals from the Romans' gladiatorial arenas.
Mhm.
Percy Jackson, that's all Greek mythology right there.
Right.
If you look at The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, that all came from Norse mythology. In fact, the dwarf names are directly taken from one of the major poems.
Mhm.
So yeah, a lot of authors do it. And that's my goal was when I go into these talks, I want to give some real world examples so that I'm not just giving them information, I'm showing them how.
Right.
And that led me down the rabbit hole 7 pages worth of notes later. And all I did was just basically explain that instead of giving them the details. But I had everything. I knew which characters lined up with whom, and it was fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Straight down the rabbit hole.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had, researching, going. I still think I'm on some FBI watch list. Maybe not anymore. But in the beginning, I had a lot of, because I wrote the FBI thriller and I had, certain things that I needed to make sort of realistic, I guess. So, and at that time, I didn't even know how to shoot a gun. Friends of mine took me to shoot a gun, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I mean, I didn't hit anything. I missed this big, huge target because it's a big gun, and I'm really little, despite how round I am. So,
That goes back to our earlier conversation from the neck up, guys. Never take pictures.
neck up. Yeah. So, but it's interesting what we research to do, the backgrounds, and especially if you're building, a make-believe world. I haven't totally made a make-believe world in any. Oh, nope, I take that back. Dome Warriors, which ended up being Messiah. We changed it to Messiah. Takes place in a sort of sci-fi futuristic world where the U.S. is under domes.
Oh, cool.
So, and the air outside is not breathable.
I personally have aspirations to write an epic fantasy. I just haven't put it all together yet. I mean, I've done map building, I've done research on different cultures and languages, and I've got notes all over the place, but I've not yet put it together into a cohesive story. And I'm not sure I ever will, because in researching and trying to put puzzle pieces together, you see how much work is involved. And
Oh, yeah.
major appreciation for the authors who can do these epic fantasies, because that's a lot of world building work. That's a lot of not only world building, the character building, the society building. I mean, it's a lot. And to those who can do it well, I mean, I absolutely admire them.
Yeah, I'm going to be testing that theory in a bit with elves. You want to come say hi? Talk about your book?
Yeah, bring him on.
he's mentally dead and wandered away. Oh, what?
Come on, we got 5 minutes left. You could do it.
Oh, in your class. Oh, yeah, I did write a 4-page police report in his class.
That's a fun assignment.
He's like, I'm mentally dead. So, yeah. Well, you were on when Sean, my nephew, popped in before we went on air. Sean is a police officer down in North Carolina, so I know he's going now. He's going to be going into criminal law as his major. So, and
Very cool.
into law enforcement. So,
Okay.
that's why he's writing out all of these police reports and stuff.
My son just told me he wants to be a police officer, but then he asked a question. He said, "Can police officers go to jail?" And I said, "Well, yes, son. If they commit a crime, they can go to jail." And his face was like, oh, like it blown his little mind. It was like, that's not a get out of jail free card. It doesn't mean you can do bad things.
No, it does not mean you're above the law at all.
So now I'm thinking this whole police officer thing, and I'm thinking to myself, why? That's not a good sign.
Mhm. Well, there are just, dishonest people out there, as
Out of the mouths of babes. I mean, that was hilarious. He's like, I want to be a police officer. Can police officers go on jail? Yes. I don't want to be a police officer anymore. I'm like, what are you planning on doing? What is going on in your little mind right now?
That is funny.
Like I said, though, that one, if he doesn't grow up to be an actor, I don't know where we went wrong, because that is his personality through and through. He just wants to entertain from the moment he meets people.
Yeah. That's the way he was early on. Yeah. Cultivate that creativity.
Oh yeah, I've got him in jazz and hip hop dance right now because he loves to move. He hated baseball to the point where we drove by. We were going to the park for a birthday party, and we drove by a baseball field on the way to the park, and he yelled at me from the back seat, "Mom, I said I didn't want baseball anymore." I'm like, who said anything about baseball? We're going to a party.
That's funny.
We did 3 seasons in T-ball, and that was it. He was like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. I hate this. I'm, okay, we won't do it anymore. I'm not going to force you.
Mhm.
Dance it is. And he does. He does like knee slides across the floor. He's so cute.
That's fun. That's good.
Whoever floats his boat, I'm all about it. You just tell me what you actually like.
And remember these things. I mean, it's always fun to draw from your life, situations and funny phrases and things like that come out, especially out of your children's mouths, and try to weave them somewhere, because it's always good for a laugh.
Kids truly say the darnest things.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's a good spot for us to end tonight, too. A good inspirational spot is to remember that, you can take inspiration from pretty much anywhere, especially crazy people, kids, fans you meet on airliners.
Yeah. And it always leaves us with a smile. So that's
Yes, and for everyone out there watching, all it takes to make your favorite author happy is just to tell them you like their book. Nothing more. That's it. That's all we need.
absolutely. Thank you for watching.
All right, we'll see you guys. Remember, tomorrow is our regularly scheduled Spilling Ink. We have got an awesome author to introduce you to. So make sure you're watching tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye.